There's a moment that almost everyone knows, standing in a group, wanting to speak and feeling your heart start to race. Your palms sweat, your chest tightens, and your mind goes blank. You rehearse what to say in your head, but by the time you're ready, the moment has already passed. So you stay quiet, smile politely, and walk away thinking, why can't I just speak like everyone else? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not broken. Social anxiety isn't a life sentence, it's a pattern. And like any pattern, it can be rewritten. This audiobook isn't about forcing confidence or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about discovering the confident version of you that already exists beneath the noise, the version that can walk into any room, look people in the eye, and speak freely, calmly, and naturally. Because confidence isn't a skill you fake, it's a state you access. And once you learn how, everything about how you communicate begins to change. Chapter 1. Cracking the Social Code. Why You Struggle. Written and published by the Audiobook Library. For most people, social anxiety begins quietly. Not with a major event or trauma, but with a series of small moments, subtle, uncomfortable experiences that build over time. A class presentation that went badly. A comment you regretted saying. A conversation where your mind froze mid-sentence. Little by little, your brain begins to associate social interaction with potential embarrassment. And from that moment forward, it starts doing everything in its power to protect you, by avoiding those situations entirely. It's not that you're antisocial or shy. It's that your brain learned to connect social moments with danger. The hidden fear beneath the silence. At the core of social anxiety is a deep and universal fear, the fear of judgment. We all want to be seen, heard, and accepted. But for those with social anxiety, that desire becomes a double-edged sword. Every interaction starts to feel like a test you could fail. You begin to overthink everything. What if I sound stupid? What if they think I'm boring? What if I say the wrong thing? Before you've even opened your mouth, your body goes into defense mode, your pulse quickens, your breathing shallows, and your mind blanks out. It's not weakness. It's a survival mechanism, one that's simply misfiring. Your brain isn't broken. It's just doing its job too well. The self-fulfilling prophecy. Here's where things get tricky. The more you avoid social situations, the stronger your anxiety becomes. Avoidance offers short-term relief. You skip the event, stay home, and instantly feel safe again. But over time, your world starts to shrink. Every missed conversation, every declined invitation, becomes a silent reinforcement of your fear. Your brain learns, see? Avoiding worked. Let's keep doing that. And so the cycle continues. Less exposure leads to more anxiety. More anxiety leads to more avoidance. Until one day you realize you're not avoiding people anymore, you're avoiding life. Beyond shyness, knowing what you're really facing. It's important to understand that social anxiety isn't the same as shyness. Shyness is a personality trait. It's natural, even endearing, and it fades as comfort grows. Social anxiety, on the other hand, is a pattern of fear that hijacks your confidence. It convinces you that you're being judged, even when you're not. It turns every simple interaction into a potential threat. But here's the empowering truth. Because social anxiety is learned, it can also be unlearned. Step by step, thought by thought, exposure by exposure, you can rewire the very patterns that have been holding you back. The turning point, awareness before action. The first step towards speaking confidently isn't changing how you talk, it's changing how you think. You can't control how others perceive you, but you can control the stories you tell yourself. Every time you assume the worst, that people are judging you, that your silence means failure, that you're socially behind, you reinforce the anxiety loop. But when you pause and question those thoughts, you weaken them. You start to see that your anxiety doesn't define you, it only describes your current conditioning. And conditioning can always change. The real you beneath the fear. Here's something most people never realize. You don't need to become confident, you need to remove what's blocking your confidence. Confidence isn't a costume, it's your natural state when fear isn't in the way. Think of a child, bold, curious, expressive. They don't overthink, they just are. You once had that freedom too. And it's still there, buried beneath layers of doubt, self-comparison, and mental noise. The work we'll do in this audiobook isn't about adding confidence. It's about peeling back everything that hides it. Because once you quiet the fear, your true self begins to speak, effortlessly. Chapter 2. Your Inner GPS. Recalibrating Your Mindset. Imagine if you could open your mind like a map. You'd see familiar routes, the automatic paths you take whenever you enter a social situation. Some lead to avoidance, some to overthinking, and a few, if you look closely, lead directly to growth. Your brain is like an internal GPS, always trying to protect you by steering you towards safety. The problem is, when it comes to social anxiety, that GPS has been miscalibrated. It doesn't distinguish between real danger and imagined discomfort. So when you face a social moment, a meeting, a conversation, a presentation, your brain hits the panic button. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your inner GPS is still following an outdated map. This chapter is about recalibrating that map, teaching your mind that social situations are not danger zones but opportunities. And it begins with how you speak to yourself. Rewriting the inner narrative. Every anxious moment begins with a thought. You might not notice it, but before the racing heartbeat, before the sweaty palms, comes a silent sentence that triggers everything else. Sounds like, I'm going to embarrass myself. They'll think I'm weird. I always mess this up. These thoughts are not harmless, they're programming. Each time you repeat them, your brain reinforces the belief that speaking up equals threat. But here's the truth most people miss. Your mind believes what you tell it most consistently, not what's actually true. So if you want to change your confidence, you must start by changing the story. Try this. The next time your mind whispers, "Everyone's judging me," respond with, "They're probably not thinking about me at all, and even if they are, I'm still safe." That single reframing shifts you from fear to neutrality. And neutrality is the first step toward confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from telling yourself you're amazing. It comes from realizing that you're safe to be yourself. The power of microexposure. One of the biggest mistakes people make in overcoming social anxiety is going too big, too fast. They try to jump straight into public speaking or large events, and when the fear hits hard, they think they've failed. But you don't conquer fear through giant leaps. You do it through small, consistent exposures. Moments that stretch your comfort zone just enough to grow but not enough to overwhelm. Start micro. Smile at a cashier. Ask a coworker how their weekend was. Make small talk at the coffee machine instead of avoiding it. Each time you face a moment of discomfort and survive it, even if it's awkward, you teach your brain a powerful new lesson. I can handle this. And that message rewires your inner GPS one small experience at a time. Confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from proof. Every micro-victory is proof that you can show up and still be okay. Challenging negative thought loops. Let's talk about those spirals, the ones that start as a whisper and end up dominating your entire mood. You might replay a conversation from days ago, analyzing every word. You might dwell on a look someone gave you, assuming it meant disapproval. This is what psychologists call cognitive distortion. When your brain creates a story that feels real but isn't true. Here's how you break it. When a negative thought surfaces, pause and ask 3 simple questions. Is this thought based on facts or feelings? Do I have any actual evidence for it? What's a more balanced perspective I could take? For example, instead of, "They didn't respond, they must think I'm boring," try, "Maybe they were just distracted, it's not about me." Each time you do this, you're not just calming yourself down, you're retraining your mind to think clearly under social pressure. Over time, this rewiring process becomes automatic. The anxious loop fades and a calm, confident rhythm takes its place. Embracing imperfection, the confidence shortcut. Here's something most confident people know instinctively. Perfection is intimidating. Authenticity is magnetic. When you stop trying to sound perfect, you instantly become more relatable. Because people don't connect to flawless, they connect to real. If your voice shakes, let it. If you stumble over a word, smile and keep going. If you forget your point mid-sentence, laugh it off and start again. Confidence isn't the absence of mistakes, it's the comfort of continuing through them. The moment you stop judging yourself for being imperfect, the world stops judging you too. Because what people actually feel when they're around you is not perfection. It's energy. And authenticity radiates calm, grounded energy like nothing else. Self-talk, the language of confidence. The words you use with yourself determine the reality you live in. Instead of, "I can't handle this," say, "I can breathe through this." Instead of, "I'm bad at small talk," say, "I'm learning to enjoy connecting with people." Language isn't just communication, it's construction. It builds your inner world. Start catching your self-talk in real time. Replace judgment with curiosity. Replace fear with patience. Replace criticism with compassion. Confidence grows where kindness lives. Turning awareness into action. Your thoughts shape your emotions and your emotions shape your actions. So every time you shift your internal dialogue, you shift your entire emotional state. This chapter is your turning point, where you stop fighting your anxiety and start retraining it. Because the goal isn't to silence the fear. It's to guide it. To use it as fuel, energy that once paralyzed you now propelling you toward growth. You are not your anxious thoughts. You are the awareness that sees them, questions them, and chooses differently. That's where power begins. A closing thought. Think of your social confidence like a muscle. At first it feels weak, even shaky. But with every repetition, every moment of courage, every reframed thought, every micro-interaction, it strengthens. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll notice something beautiful. You'll be in a conversation speaking freely, laughing easily, and you'll think, wait, where's the anxiety? It won't be gone forever, it'll just be quiet. Because your new GPS will have learned what your heart always knew. You were never broken. You were just waiting to recalibrate. Chapter 3. The Art of Confident Communication. Have you ever noticed how some people seem effortlessly confident when they speak? Their words flow, their body language is open, and somehow, everyone pays attention when they talk. It's not that they're smarter, funnier, or more charismatic than you, it's that they've learned how to communicate with confidence. And here's the truth most people never realize. Confidence in communication isn't about having all the right words. It's about energy, intention, and connection. When you learn to communicate from a place of calm authenticity rather than fear or performance, people feel it. And they respond to you differently, not because you changed who you are, but because you finally let who you are shine through. This chapter will teach you exactly how to do that. 1. Listen to be heard. It sounds backward, doesn't it? That the best way to be heard is to listen. But it's true, confident communicators are great listeners first. When you're focused on the other person, you take the spotlight off yourself. And that instantly quiets anxiety. Here's the secret. When you listen deeply, your mind stops worrying about what to say next. You naturally respond with genuine curiosity, and genuine curiosity never sounds awkward. Try this simple practice. When someone is speaking, mentally repeat their key words to yourself. This keeps you present and helps your next response flow effortlessly. Instead of thinking, what should I say? You'll start thinking, what are they really trying to say? That shift from self-consciousness to other awareness changes everything. 2. The open-ended question technique. Small talk doesn't have to feel small. Most of the time, awkwardness happens because conversations hit a dead end. But there's an easy fix. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of, did you have a good weekend? Try, what was the best part of your weekend? Instead of, do you like your job? What do you enjoy most about what you do? These kinds of questions invite stories, emotions, and connection. They show interest, not interrogation. And here's a little secret. People love to talk about their experiences. When you give them space to do that, you become memorable, not because you said something impressive, but because you made them feel heard. That's the art of confident communication. It's not about performing, it's about participating. 3. Body language, your silent confidence. Long before you say a single word, your body has already spoken. Research shows that over 70% of communication is nonverbal. So, if you want to feel confident, start by looking confident, even before your emotions catch up. Here's how. Posture. Stand tall with shoulders relaxed but back. It tells your brain, I belong here. Eye contact. Not a stare, just soft, steady glances that show engagement. Look away naturally when you think, then back again. Facial expression. A gentle, natural smile is the universal confidence signal. It says, I'm open, not anxious. Gestures. Use your hands freely but calmly. Movement should flow with your words, not fight them. And remember, body language isn't about faking confidence. It's about inviting it. Your physiology can trigger your psychology. When you move like someone calm and sure, your brain follows suit. Try this next time you feel nervous before speaking. Plant your feet firmly, open your chest, breathe deeply, and let your arms rest naturally. You'll be amazed at how quickly your energy shifts. 4. The anchor technique, resetting your nerves mid-conversation. Even confident people feel moments of nervousness. They've just learned how to anchor themselves when it happens. Here's a simple trick you can use anytime. When you feel anxiety rising, subtly press your thumb and forefinger together. At the same time, take one deep, deliberate breath and mentally repeat, "I'm safe. I'm present. I belong." This does two things at once. It grounds your body and recenters your mind. Over time, your body will begin to associate that small gesture with calm confidence. You're literally teaching yourself a shortcut to stability, a secret anchor that no one else can see. 5. The pause, your power tool. Anxious speakers often rush their words. They fear silence, as if every second without sound might reveal insecurity. But confident communicators? They embrace the pause. A pause before a response shows thoughtfulness. A pause after a key point creates emphasis. A pause when you feel nervous gives your mind time to reset. Silence is not your enemy, it's your ally. In fact, pausing makes people listen more closely. It draws their attention to what you say next. So, the next time you feel your heart racing mid-conversation, just breathe and pause. You're not losing control, you're regaining it. 6. The secret to effortless flow. Every conversation has a rhythm, like a dance. When you're anxious, you tend to step on your own toes by overthinking. But once you relax into the rhythm, everything starts to flow. Here's how to find that flow. Don't plan your next sentence while the other person is talking. Let curiosity lead you instead of fear. Focus on understanding, not impressing. Because when you stop performing and start connecting, the pressure melts away. And that's when your true personality finally comes forward, witty, insightful, and fully alive. 7. Reframing mistakes as moments. No one communicates perfectly all the time. Even the most charismatic people miss cues, stumble over words, or forget what they were saying. The difference is how they handle it. An anxious mind interprets mistakes as failure. A confident mind sees them as moments. Moments to smile. Moments to recover. Moments to show authenticity. If you forget what you were saying, just laugh and say, "I completely lost my train of thought." Happens all the time. It instantly resets the energy. Remember, people aren't judging you nearly as harshly as you think. They're too focused on how you make them feel. And authenticity always feels better than perfection. Your voice, the sound of confidence. You don't need a powerful voice, you just need a present one. To project confidence. Slow your pace slightly. Drop your tone at the end of sentences instead of letting it rise, which signals uncertainty. Speak from your chest, not your throat. It gives your words depth and steadiness. And remember, your voice doesn't need to dominate, it just needs to resonate. Because the most confident voices aren't the loudest. They're the ones that sound calm, intentional, and sincere. A closing thought. Confidence in communication isn't about changing who you are, it's about becoming fully comfortable being who you are. When you listen with care, speak with intention, and express with authenticity, something beautiful happens. You stop worrying about what others think of you, and start focusing on how you can make others feel at ease. That shift, from self-conscious to self-assured, is the heart of true communication. Because confidence isn't about speaking perfectly, it's about speaking honestly. And once you embrace that, every word, every smile, every moment of silence becomes your ally. Chapter 4. Real-world scenarios. Practice makes progress. Confidence isn't built by reading about it. It's built by living it, one small step, one real moment at a time. You don't overcome social anxiety by waiting to feel ready. You overcome it by acting before you feel ready. This chapter is all about practical application. How to translate all the principles you've learned into real-world experiences. Because theory inspires you, but practice transforms you. 1. The power of micro-practice. Think about it like this. If you wanted to build muscle, you wouldn't lift the heaviest weight on your first day. You'd start small, stay consistent, and let strength develop naturally. Social confidence works exactly the same way. We'll call this process micro-practice. Small, low-pressure exercises that gradually desensitize your anxiety triggers. Start with tiny interactions. Smile and make eye contact with the barista. Say good morning to someone in the elevator. Ask a store clerk, "How's your day going?" These aren't tests, they're warm-ups. You're training your nervous system to realize social connection is safe. Every small moment of practice is like rewiring a circuit in your brain, replacing fear with familiarity. And with repetition, what once felt terrifying becomes normal. 2. Initiating conversations, the confidence kickstart. One of the most intimidating parts of social anxiety is starting a conversation. But starting doesn't have to mean delivering something profound. It simply means showing presence. Here are simple, natural openers you can use anywhere. Hey, how's your week going so far? That's a great jacket. Where'd you get it? I heard what you said earlier. That was really interesting. I'm curious, what do you think about? Topic you're both aware of? Notice the pattern. They're personal, positive, and specific. Generic questions create generic answers. Specific questions spark connection. And if your mind freezes, just smile and say, I'm not great at small talk, but I really wanted to say hi. Honesty disarms awkwardness. People connect with realness, not rehearsed perfection. 3. Navigating group conversations. For many people with social anxiety, group settings feel like walking into a storm. Voices overlap, thoughts race, and it feels impossible to find your moment to speak. Here's the secret. You don't need to dominate the room, you just need to anchor yourself in it. Try this approach. Step 1. Enter the group quietly and observe the flow of energy. Step 2. Identify who's guiding the tone of the conversation. Every group has one. Step 3. Contribute when there's a natural pause using a bridge phrase like, that actually reminds me of something. Or, I completely get that, I had a similar experience. You're not interrupting, you're connecting the thread. If you lose your train of thought mid-sentence, it's okay. Pause, smile, and simply say, I just blanked for a second, what I meant was. The honesty makes you relatable. And when others speak, use small nonverbal cues, nodding, leaning slightly forward, maintaining eye contact. Those microsignals tell others, you're engaged. You don't have to talk the most to make the strongest impression. You just have to be present. 4. Navigating difficult interactions. Let's face it, not every social situation is comfortable or friendly. Sometimes people are dismissive, impatient, or even rude. The key here is emotional composure, keeping your inner peace regardless of outer behavior. When confronted with negativity, remember this mantra. Their reaction doesn't define my worth. You can't control their energy, but you can control how long you let it live inside you. Try this strategy. Take one slow breath before responding. Lower your tone slightly. Calm always carries more authority than defensiveness. Use boundary phrases like, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't agree. I'd prefer not to discuss that right now. These responses show quiet confidence. No aggression, no submission, just clarity. You're teaching your nervous system a vital truth. You don't have to please everyone to be respected. 5. Public speaking, everyday edition. When people hear public speaking, they imagine standing on a stage with a spotlight and hundreds of eyes watching. But in reality, public speaking happens every day, in meetings, classes, family gatherings, and even casual group chats. Here's how to master it one layer at a time. Start small. Share your thoughts in low-stakes settings, maybe a team update or a group discussion. Pause before you speak. That tiny breath calms your mind and gives your words weight. Focus on value, not performance. Ask yourself, how can I help or inspire this audience? Use the 3-second rule. When fear rises, count 1, 2, 3, and start speaking before anxiety has time to argue. Confidence isn't the absence of nerves, it's moving forward despite them. Remember, even the world's greatest speakers still feel fear before they speak. The difference is they trust themselves enough to continue. And so can you. 6. The recovery grace principle. Here's something liberating. Confidence isn't about never feeling awkward, it's about recovering gracefully when you do. Everyone trips over their words sometimes. Everyone forgets names. Everyone has moments of silence that feel like hours. But confident people don't punish themselves for it. They recover, smile, and move on. If you stumble, acknowledge it lightly. Say, wow, that came out wrong, or, I'm rambling, let me try that again. Then move forward. This simple act does two powerful things. It neutralizes the awkwardness and proves to your mind that mistakes aren't disasters. The goal isn't perfect social performance. It's genuine human connection. And connection thrives on imperfection. 7. Repetition turns fear into familiarity. Social confidence isn't built overnight, it's built through repetition. Every conversation you initiate, every small moment of courage, chips away at the old belief that, I'm not good at socializing. You're literally reprogramming your identity. Here's a truth to carry with you. You don't need to wait until you feel confident to act. You act and then confidence appears. So start with micro practice. Then expand your comfort zone one situation at a time. And every time you show up, you're proving to yourself that you can handle it. Because progress isn't measured by how comfortable you feel. It's measured by how consistently you try. 8. The shift from fear to freedom. In time, something incredible happens. The same situations that once triggered anxiety, meetings, parties, introductions, start to feel natural. You realize that confidence isn't something you perform. It's something you become. The more you practice, the more you embody a truth you once doubted. You belong. And when you finally believe that, even a little, your social anxiety loses its power. Because the goal was never to fit in. It was always to show up as you. Chapter 5. Sustaining Your Confidence Journey. Written and published by the Audiobook Library. You've come a long way. You've explored your fears, challenged your thoughts, practiced new behaviors, and begun reclaiming your voice. But the real question now is, how do you keep that confidence growing? Because confidence isn't something you achieve once and never touch again. It's something you maintain, nurture, and protect, just like any other skill or state of mind. In this final chapter, we'll talk about how to sustain your progress long-term, so the confidence you've built doesn't fade but multiplies with time. 1. Confidence is a practice, not a personality. Many people believe confidence is a personality trait, that some people are just born with it. But that's not true. Confidence is a practice. It's the sum of your choices, the tiny moments when you show up despite discomfort, when you speak despite fear, when you choose connection over avoidance. Every time you do that, you strengthen a muscle. And like any muscle, it needs consistent movement to stay strong. So instead of thinking, I've fixed my social anxiety, think, I'm maintaining my confidence practice. That mindset keeps you from slipping back into old habits. Because this isn't about perfection, it's about progress that lasts. 2. Build your social support system. You don't have to walk this journey alone. In fact, confidence grows faster when you surround yourself with people who reinforce it. Seek out those who encourage your voice, not silence it. Celebrate your small wins. Listen without judgment. Challenge you to step up but not to perform. These are the people who remind you of your worth when your inner critic gets loud. And here's something powerful to remember. You teach others how to treat you by how you treat yourself. When you speak kindly to yourself, maintain healthy boundaries, and own your space, others respond accordingly. Confidence becomes contagious. 3. The growth reflection ritual. One of the most effective ways to sustain confidence is to acknowledge how far you've come. At least once a week, pause and reflect. What social situation did I handle better this week? What did I say or do that made me proud? Where did I still feel discomfort, and what can I learn from it? Write it down. Because the human mind tends to forget progress quickly, it focuses on what's wrong instead of what's working. When you record your wins, you anchor them into memory. You start to see patterns of growth. And soon, what used to feel terrifying becomes a normal part of who you are. Reflection turns your progress into evidence. And evidence silences self-doubt. For, expect setbacks but redefine them. Even with all your growth, there will be days when anxiety creeps back in. You'll stumble over your words, misread a moment, or feel that old tightness in your chest. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. Setbacks are not a sign of weakness. They're reminders that you're still learning. Instead of saying, I'm back where I started, say, I've been here before, and I know how to move forward. Each challenge you overcome strengthens your resilience. You're no longer afraid of falling because you've proven that you can always rise again. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to keep walking through it. 5. The power of self-celebration. You deserve to celebrate yourself, not just when you achieve something big, but when you try. Celebration reinforces motivation. It tells your subconscious, this is who I am now, someone who shows up. So reward yourself for every win, big or small. You made eye contact instead of looking away? That's progress. You contributed in a meeting? That's courage. You stayed present during a conversation that once made you anxious? That's victory. Write it down. Say it out loud. Let yourself feel proud. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're transforming. 6. Turn confidence into contribution. True confidence isn't just about feeling comfortable with yourself, it's about using your voice to uplift others. As your anxiety fades, you'll start to notice something beautiful. You become the person others look to for reassurance, guidance, and calm. Maybe you'll help a coworker who's nervous before a presentation. Maybe you'll comfort a friend who struggles with social fear. Maybe you'll simply lead by example, showing others that growth is possible. Confidence shared becomes confidence multiplied. And the more you give it away, the stronger it becomes within you. 7. The long game, becoming your own safe space. At the heart of all social confidence is one essential truth. You are your own safe space. No matter where you go, who you meet, or what situation you face, you carry that calm, grounded presence within you. You've learned to breathe through tension. You've learned to trust your thoughts. You've learned that silence isn't danger, it's space for authenticity. And that means you never have to run from yourself again. When you realize that your safety doesn't depend on others' approval, you unlock something extraordinary: freedom. Freedom to express. Freedom to connect. Freedom to simply be. 8. A final word: from fear to flow. The journey from social anxiety to confidence isn't a straight line. It's a dance between fear and courage. But every time you choose courage, even in small ways, you tip the balance in your favor. Confidence grows quietly. Not in grand moments, but in those everyday choices. The smile you return, the conversation you start, the silence you no longer fear. And one day you'll look back and realize that you've become the person you once admired, calm, grounded, and at ease in any situation. That's not a dream. That's your reality unfolding one moment at a time. Because you've already proven the most important thing. You can do this. You already are. Chapter 6. Rewiring your mind, the science of calm confidence. There's a powerful truth about confidence that most people never realize. It's not a personality trait, it's a trainable mental state. Just like building muscle in the gym, confidence grows stronger every time you use it, especially when you learn how to calm the nervous system that fuels your anxiety. In this chapter, we'll explore how to rewire your brain for confidence using scientifically supported techniques that quiet fear and amplify self-assurance. Understanding the fear circuit. Social anxiety isn't just in your head. It's a biological reaction, the brain's amygdala triggering a fight-or-flight response to perceived social threats. Your body reacts as if you're in danger when all you're doing is talking to another person. That racing heart, sweaty palms, and shaky voice? They're signs of a brain trying to protect you. But the beautiful thing about the brain is its plasticity, its ability to change and adapt. When you understand this, you realize you're not broken. You're simply conditioned to anticipate rejection, judgment, or embarrassment. And what's learned can be unlearned. Technique 1. The grounding breath. Before any conversation, presentation, or social event, take 60 seconds to center yourself. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 2. Exhale gently through your mouth for 6. Repeat for 1 minute. This simple act activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural brake pedal for anxiety. You're telling your brain, I am safe. I am in control. Over time, your body begins to associate social situations not with panic, but with calm awareness. Technique 2. Reframe the spotlight. Social anxiety magnifies one illusion, that everyone is watching and judging you. The truth? Most people are far too focused on themselves. The next time you speak, try shifting your mindset from "they're evaluating me" to "I'm connecting with them." You're not performing, you're engaging. You're not being tested, you're sharing. A simple reframe like this can immediately reduce pressure and unlock authenticity in your communication. Technique 3. Visualization rehearsal. Before stepping into a social situation, visualize it in detail. Picture yourself walking confidently into the room, smiling, greeting people warmly, and speaking clearly. Imagine the sense of ease and flow in your voice. This isn't fantasy, it's mental training. Research shows that mental rehearsal strengthens the same neural pathways as physical practice. You're literally programming your mind for success before it happens. The power of gradual exposure. Confidence grows in stages, not leaps. Start small, saying hello to a cashier, making eye contact, or joining a brief conversation. Every positive encounter rewires the brain's reward system, teaching it that social interaction leads to safety, not danger. Celebrate each success, no matter how minor it feels. Your nervous system learns through repetition, not perfection. Redefining confidence. Confidence isn't about eliminating fear, it's about acting despite it. The calm, grounded presence you see in charismatic people isn't the absence of nerves, it's the mastery of them. When you train your body to stay calm and your mind to stay present, you become unstoppable. You stop performing for approval and start connecting from authenticity. Your goal for today is simple. Practice one grounding breath cycle before your next social interaction. Feel your body settle. Let your mind quiet. Remind yourself, you're not here to impress, you're here to connect. This is how confidence begins, not in the spotlight but in the moments before you step into it. Chapter 7, Building Real-World Confidence, From Practice to Presence. You've learned how to calm your nerves and quiet your inner critic. Now it's time to step into the real world, to practice what you've internalized, to strengthen your confidence muscle through action, and to truly embody presence wherever you go. Confidence doesn't blossom in isolation, it thrives in interaction. The more you engage, the more natural and effortless it becomes. Think of this chapter as your field guide to real-world transformation, where mindset meets movement. Start small but start now. Confidence builds through exposure, not avoidance. You don't have to throw yourself into the deep end of a crowded party or a high-stakes meeting right away. Start small with everyday opportunities. Make eye contact with a stranger and hold it for 2 seconds longer than usual. Compliment someone on something genuine, like their outfit or their work. Ask your barista how their day is going. These micro-interactions might seem trivial, but they are powerful. Each one chips away at the old story that you're not good at socializing. Each one tells your brain, see? That went fine. Every small success becomes a brick in your new foundation of confidence. The 3-second rule. One of the best tools for building social courage is the 3-second rule. If you feel the urge to speak, say hello, introduce yourself, ask a question. Do it within 3 seconds. Why? Because hesitation breeds anxiety. The longer you wait, the louder your fear becomes. Acting quickly interrupts the overthinking cycle and trains you to lead with instinct instead of worry. You don't need the perfect words. You just need the willingness to start. The rest will flow naturally. Presence over performance. Many people with social anxiety fall into a mental trap. They try to perform instead of simply be. They rehearse what to say, monitor how they look, and constantly evaluate others' reactions, all while missing the actual conversation. Presence is the antidote. When you're present, you're not analyzing, you're experiencing. You listen deeply, respond genuinely, and allow your natural personality to come through. Try this exercise. In your next conversation, focus 100% on the other person. Listen not to reply but to understand. Notice how it feels when you let go of trying to get it right and simply connect. This is where real confidence lives, not in perfect words but in authentic energy. Building momentum through repetition. Every positive experience builds a new reference point in your subconscious. You're creating a library of memories that say, I can handle this. Repetition turns courage into comfort. The first few interactions might still feel awkward, and that's okay. The goal isn't to eliminate discomfort, it's to prove to yourself that you can move through it. Remember, your comfort zone isn't static. It expands every time you take action. Body language, confidence without words. Your body often speaks before you do. Here are small, high-impact adjustments that instantly project calm confidence. Posture. Stand tall, shoulders relaxed, head up. Eye contact. Hold it naturally, look away briefly, then return. Smile. Not forced but gentle. It signals openness. Gestures. Move your hands while you speak. It releases tension and enhances expressiveness. Body language not only influences how others see you, it rewires how you feel. Psychologists call it embodied cognition. When you act confident, your mind follows. The power of reflection. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to reflect. What went well socially today? What made me uncomfortable? What small win can I acknowledge? This reflection builds awareness and reinforces progress. You start noticing that situations which once felt terrifying now feel manageable, even enjoyable. Growth isn't always loud, it's often quiet, gradual, and deeply personal. Embracing progress, not perfection. Remember, confidence is not a straight line. There will be days you feel bold and magnetic, and others where anxiety tries to creep back in. That's normal. What matters most is your consistency, the willingness to keep showing up even imperfectly. Every stumble is still a step forward. Every attempt is proof that you're no longer stuck in silence. You're learning to replace fear with presence, to act before overthinking, to show up as you. Your challenge for today: initiate one genuine conversation. It doesn't matter how short it is, what matters is that you took the step. Because each word you speak with intention is another layer of your new identity. Someone who's confident, grounded, and free.
Chapter 8: Mastering Group Dynamics. Thriving in Social and Professional Circles. Standing in a group conversation can feel like standing in the center of a storm. Words swirl around you. Laughter bursts unpredictably, and while others seem to flow effortlessly between topics, you might feel like you're quietly drowning in thoughts, unsure when or how to join in. But here's the truth: group dynamics aren't about being the loudest voice in the room. They're about energy, awareness, and timing. Once you understand these elements, you can move through any social circle with calm authority and natural confidence. This chapter is your blueprint for thriving in group settings, socially, professionally, or anywhere people gather. The energy equation. Every group has an emotional rhythm, a subtle pulse of tone, pace, and mood. Confident communicators aren't just good talkers, they're skilled observers. They sense this rhythm, then adapt their energy to match it. If the group is energetic and fast-paced, contribute with enthusiasm. If it's calm and reflective, slow down and speak with grounded composure. Matching the group's tone builds instant connection. It tells others, you belong here. Confidence in groups isn't about forcing yourself to stand out. It's about learning how to fit in effortlessly, then stand out naturally. The art of entry. One of the most intimidating moments is finding your way into an ongoing conversation. Here's a simple 3-step method. Observe first. Listen for a common theme or a shared interest. This keeps your contribution relevant. Acknowledge the flow. Smile, nod, and make eye contact with the speaker. This signals engagement and readiness. Contribute smoothly. Once there's a pause, start with a bridge phrase, something like, "That's so true, I've noticed that too. Actually, that reminds me of... I love what you said about." These bridges make your entry seamless and natural. You're not interrupting, you're joining. Balancing speaking and listening. People often think confidence means talking more, but in reality, confidence is balance. It's knowing when to speak and when to listen deeply. In groups, strong communicators create presence by listening actively, maintaining eye contact, reacting with facial expressions, and showing genuine interest. When you finally speak, your words carry more weight because you've been attentive. You've earned the group's respect, not by dominating, but by engaging. Remember, silence is not weakness. It's power held in reserve. How to handle overtalkers. Every group has them, the person who talks endlessly or interrupts without pause. If this triggers anxiety, remember, you don't need to compete for space. You need to claim it calmly. Wait for a natural pause, then use phrases like, "Can I add something to that? That's a great point. I'd love to expand on it." Your tone should be firm yet polite. You're not demanding attention. You're directing it. When you speak from composure, people listen more intently. Calm confidence is often more commanding than volume. Mastering professional environments. Work meetings, networking events, and brainstorming sessions are high-stakes arenas for social anxiety. But here's a mindset shift that changes everything. Don't enter to impress. Enter to contribute. Confidence in professional settings isn't about perfect words. It's about presence and value. Before entering a group conversation at work, remind yourself, I have insights worth sharing. My perspective can help someone else. Frame your contributions as service, not self-promotion. When your focus is on helping others, your anxiety naturally dissolves. Finding your social role. In every group, roles emerge: the storyteller, the listener, the motivator, the connector. Your power lies in discovering your natural social role. Maybe you're the one who asks thoughtful questions that deepen the conversation. Maybe you're the calm observer who brings clarity, or the encourager who makes others feel seen. Confidence isn't about changing who you are, it's about amplifying your authentic strengths. When you know your role, you stop trying to fit in and start flowing in your natural rhythm. Recovering from slip ups. Everyone makes conversational missteps, talking too long, saying something awkward, or losing your train of thought. But confident people don't panic. They recover gracefully. If you stumble, smile. Laugh lightly at yourself. Then redirect. Anyway, what I meant to say was, you know what I'm trying to say. It's that idea of authenticity always beats perfection. People don't remember your exact words. They remember your energy. Presence in groups. The invisible magnet. When you're fully present, calm, grounded, and genuinely engaged, people gravitate toward you. Presence creates an invisible magnetism. The key? Be where your feet are. Don't monitor yourself mid-conversation. Don't anticipate how you're being judged. Stay curious about the moment, and your authenticity will speak louder than any rehearsed line ever could. Your challenge for today: find one opportunity to engage in a group interaction, whether it's joining a chat at work, commenting in a small group online, or starting a casual conversation in person. Focus not on performing, but on connecting. Listen, contribute naturally, and let your calm energy lead the way. Every time you step into a group with presence instead of pressure, you rewrite your identity from anxious observer to confident participant.
Chapter 9. Speaking Up and Standing Out. Your voice as a tool of influence. Your voice is more than sound. It's your instrument of influence, your emotional fingerprint, and your most powerful tool for shaping how the world perceives you. Yet for many people with social anxiety, that very voice feels like an enemy. It trembles, falters, hides behind silence. But the truth is this: confidence isn't about having the perfect voice. It's about owning the one you already have. When you learn to speak with intention, tone, and clarity, your voice becomes a bridge, connecting your inner power to the outer world. In this chapter, you'll learn how to unlock that voice, strengthen it, and use it to command respect and inspire trust. Whether you're in a meeting, a social gathering, or a moment that matters deeply to you. The psychology of speaking up. When social anxiety hits, the fear of speaking up stems from two core worries: fear of judgment and fear of rejection. You imagine others are scrutinizing every word, every pause, every imperfection. But here's the liberating truth: people aren't paying as much attention as you think. They're focused on themselves, their thoughts, their worries, their next line. Once you grasp this, the spotlight effect starts to fade. You realize that speaking up isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. Your goal is not to impress, it's to express. Owning your voice, tone, pace, and power. Your tone is the emotional fingerprint of your message. It reveals confidence or insecurity long before your words do. To project calm authority. Slow down. Speak slightly slower than you think you should. Confidence has no rush. Lower your pitch slightly. A grounded, steady tone communicates composure. Pause intentionally. Silence between thoughts creates space and power. When you slow down and own your space, your voice stops chasing approval and starts commanding respect. Try this exercise. Record yourself speaking for 30 seconds about anything: your morning, your favorite movie, your goals. Then listen back, not for mistakes, but for moments of strength. Notice when your tone sounds sure and calm. That's your natural confidence speaking, your true voice. Speaking up in the moment. When you want to contribute in a conversation but anxiety freezes you, use this 3-step framework. Breathe and anchor. Inhale slowly, feel your feet on the ground. This centers your energy. Lead with agreement. Begin with a brief nod to the ongoing topic. That's a great point, or I've thought about that too. Add your value. Share one clear thought or example. Keep it short and genuine. Even a single sentence spoken with authenticity has more impact than a long, nervous explanation. The courage to be heard. You will have moments where your voice shakes, where your words don't land perfectly. That's not failure, it's growth. The courage to speak through discomfort builds real strength. Here's something most people don't realize: confident people also feel fear. They've just learned to move through it faster. Every time you speak up despite fear, You're conditioning your nervous system to stop associating speech with danger. That's how transformation happens. One imperfect but brave word at a time. Storytelling, the secret of influence. Human beings are wired for stories. Facts inform us, but stories move us. When you share a story, even a small personal one, you shift from being a participant in conversation to becoming a source of inspiration. Try incorporating mini stories into your interactions. Instead of saying, "That's stressful," say, "I remember feeling the same before my first presentation. My hands were shaking, but it turned out better than I expected." Stories show vulnerability, and vulnerability creates connection. The more you practice storytelling, the more your authenticity will naturally shine through your words. The power of volume and presence. Confidence often lives in the small details of voice projection. Speaking softly can make you appear uncertain, not because your words lack power but because they lack volume. Practice speaking 10% louder than feels natural. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but this slight adjustment sends a subconscious signal of authority, both to others and to your own brain. When you hear yourself filling a space, your body starts believing, "I belong here." Responding to interruptions. One of the most intimidating moments is being interrupted mid-sentence. When this happens, most anxious speakers either go quiet or rush through their point. Instead, pause, make eye contact, and say calmly, "I'll finish my thought, then I'd love to hear your take." This simple statement reclaims your ground with grace. You don't need to fight for space, you simply hold it. Transforming self-doubt into influence. Every great communicator you admire started with uncertainty. The difference is, they didn't let fear stop them. They practiced speaking, refined their tone, learned from mistakes, and built confidence through repetition. You're doing the same. You're building a new relationship with your voice, one based on respect, not rejection. When you speak clearly, calmly, and with purpose, people feel it. You shift from being someone who hides behind silence to someone who leads through presence. Your challenge for today. Find one opportunity to use your voice intentionally today. It could be sharing an idea in a meeting, giving a compliment, or asking a question in a group. Whatever it is, speak it clearly. Don't rush. Don't apologize. Just own it. Your voice is your power, and every time you use it with courage, the world learns to listen.